Well, of course you want to be efficient, but at what cost? And if the cost is resilience, well, maybe that's not actually worth the trade-off. The complementary currency insights that you have. So you were studying complementary currency theory in the early 2000s or something. Is that correct?
Hmm.
Really?
Correct.
Wow. And so that was just something that you did during your studies and then has now obviously, 10, 20 years later become relevant to what you're doing.
Yes, absolutely. So I
Wow.
was actually, I think 2011 or 2012, I was actually holding speeches in front of a think tank in Brussels on
No
the
way.
potential of complementary currencies. I did not even know that Bitcoin existed at the time. But basically what I was praising was already a Bitcoin-like system. So I
Interesting.
always like to say that I was a Bitcoiner before even knowing that Bitcoin existed.
Yeah. Cool.
But it just shows that, there are many different ways of coming into the Bitcoin space. The problem that Bitcoin solves is very real. It's something that literally makes the entire system fragile, and that we need something to solve it. Now, Bitcoin happened to be the best way of solving it, and has, testified over the last 16 years to be anti-fragile, to be resistant to censorship, resistant to attacks, to be properly decentralized, which, by the way, were all things that I did not really have on my radar. I didn't have, my head around all of this yet. Nobody did, I believe. And yeah, now Bitcoin really seems to be the solution to most of the financial monetary issues that we are facing these days, whether people accept to admit it or not.
And I also really like this idea of how it's going to, in some ways, stabilize the existing. So the lack of resilience that we see globally in all these different financial problems that pop up all the time, Bitcoin's pure existence as an alternative outside of that system already tempers the behavior of the current problems. Now, it may not be all that obvious because, we're seeing the big, beautiful bill just about to arrive. So the money print is getting switched on, and it's going to happen in all sorts of different places on top of the US. But it's a great point because it kind of puts the dampeners on the people that have basically it's shitting on the central bankers party. That's for sure. It's like, sorry guys, there's now another option. Thomas, if you can, I'm not suggesting that you were specifically at the table at the time, but you mentioned the euro was initially planned as a complementary currency, but then that was changed. Do you have any insight as to why that was like? Why did they do that?
Yeah, there's actually one author in particular, Bernard Lietard, who unfortunately is no longer with us. He passed away a decade ago. He was very involved in the development of the euro, and he was one of the most prolific author on complementary currencies. And he was sharing on some videos that you can still find on YouTube that when he was talking behind the scenes on the system, everybody was telling him, look, don't touch the monetary system. So he first tried through the let's say, the public way of talking, pushing for complementary currencies and for how the euro should be implemented. And then after facing so much pushback at the time, late 90s, if I'm not mistaken, then he decided to start doing things privately, because he realized that, at the time the public sector was not gonna embrace innovation and embrace a superior business model. I mean, there are too many entrenched interests. The incumbent system has too much to lose to embrace something better. It sounds obvious. If you have the ability to print the currency, would you like to give up this ability? This is an enormous power that you have. Why would you willingly give up this power? Obviously, the people in the incumbent do not want to relinquish this power. The same way taxis did not like when Uber came in, the same way hotels did not like when Airbnb came in. The same way, you can think of many innovations
Many
that,
disruptions. Yes.
yeah, exactly. They never liked these disruptions coming over and taking over, doing what they were doing, but just better and in a more appropriate way with the current time. Well, it's the exact same thing here, but with something that is so fundamental. The monetary system is behind everything we're doing. It's behind all economic activity in the world. Well, it was obvious that there would be resistance. It was obvious that the incumbent system would fight back, and we just happen to be now at the stage where we realize that their fight back is not gonna make it. They are losing power every day. Bitcoin is increasing in size and influence every day, and now it's about navigating the transition in a smooth way. But you cannot put the genie back in the bottle. There's no way to prevent this transition from happening now. The same way you cannot, stop AI from growing. You cannot stop the internet from being adopted by more people. This is happening whether people like it or not.